ensure that for all consultancy contracts awarded to foreign companies are made available to their corresponding Nigerian partners.
President Buhari orders NTAs to give priority to Nigerian professionals.
We are going to improve on what we have done last in terms of diligence that has been applied.
2022 appropriation bill. Senate promises due diligence and accelerated hearing.
This explains why this administration has created a ministry to cater for, among others, the vulnerable in society.
Information Minister reiterates government's commitment to social protection.
We have developed a strategic election security operation order, which will involve the mobilization and deployment of a total of 34,000.
Plus, police carries out security analysis ahead of Anambra Goba poll. Hello and thank you for joining us on NTA Network News. I am Ian Ray. John Adeola Komiakere joins us from Lagos. Welcome. The federal government has promised to do whatever it takes within the ambit of the law to ensure the full implementation of Executive Order No. 5 aimed at creating wealth, strengthening the nation's economy, reducing poverty and providing job opportunities. President Muhammadu Buhari made a declaration while inaugurating the Presidential Monitoring and Evaluation Council in respect of the executive order and directed MDAs to henceforth give priority to indigenous professionals in the planning, design and execution of national projects. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The Executive Order 5 was signed by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 as an instrument to midwife a new beginning towards expanding Nigeria's indigenous capacity as well as transforming the nation's economy from resource-based to knowledge-based and innovation-driven.
The Presidential Executive Order No. 5, in essence, is placing our manufacturers, our entrepreneurs, our professionals at the very center of economic activity.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who is to chair the Monitoring and Evaluation Council, directed that henceforth consideration shall only be given to foreigners in the execution of national projects when appropriate authority certifies that such expertise is not available in Nigeria.
The federal government shall introduce margin of reference in national competitive bidding in contracts, in the evaluation of tenders from indigenous suppliers of goods manufactured locally over foreign goods. All MDAs shall ensure that for all consultancy contracts awarded to foreign companies, engineering drawings, necessary calculations, design, etc., are made available to their corresponding Nigerian partners towards local production of needed materials. Designs for all contracts, programs, projects, etc. shall be in English language before signing such contracts.
Ministries, departments and agencies have also been ordered to ensure that all professionals practicing in Nigeria are duly registered with appropriate regulatory bodies, while suppliers and contractors under national competitive bidding process shall disclose available local materials needed for the execution of the projects.
The Ministry of Interior shall ensure that the expatriate quota for projects, contracts and programs are granted according to the provisions of the Immigration Act and other relevant laws. This will apply where qualifications and competence of Nigerian nationals are not available or cannot be ascertained, which shall be contingent on training such a number of persons as may be required for the execution of the contract or project.
The Federal Ministries of Science, Technology and Innovation, as well as that of Justice, are under instruction to facilitate the early passage of the bill for the Executive Order 5 at the National Assembly.
I must say this is perhaps the best thing that has happened to the manufacturing sector of Nigeria ever. I believe that we are now set to create the kind of economy that Nigeria deserves and has always had the capacity to achieve. And we have everything. We have the market. We have the resources. We have, indeed, the talent to be able to do it. I'm so delighted that President Muhammadu Buhari has now exerted the political will to back up the growth of our industries.
The Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, where the Secretariat of the Council is domiciled, will be supported by the Strategy Implementation Task Office to facilitate the administration, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of provisions of the Executive Order No. 5. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the renewal of appointment of Colonel Meland Dixon Diku, retired as interim administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program for another one-year tenure. Colonel Diku was first appointed in August 2020, and reports indicate that in spite of associated challenges, he has been able to command widespread respect amongst the various stakeholders in the Niger Delta. Meanwhile, Nigeria has expressed formal appreciation to the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, for the assistance being rendered to the country in diverse ways, especially in stabilizing the northeast. President Muhammadu Buhari expressed Nigeria's appreciation while playing host to the head of the UNDP Regional Bureau for Africa, Ahuna Eziokonwa. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Visiting the State House after an assessment tour of the Northeast, the head of the UNDP Regional Bureau for Africa, Nigerian-born Ahuna Eziokonwa, described as delightful the incredible progress being made in helping people restore their livelihoods. She noted with satisfaction that teachers and students are now back in schools, police stations being rebuilt, and healthcare centers being reconstructed.
It was incredible, Mr. President, to see the hope restored in these communities and the teeming number of people who have returned, and it really gave us courage and hope that we could continue to invest in such a way that we empty out the IDP camps.
The UNDP Regional Bureau Head for Africa thanked Nigeria for the opportunity given the UN agency to play a role, as well as the space to address COVID-19 through the Basket Fund, as well as tap into Nigerian youth dynamism.
I want to say that we really congratulate you for launching the Jubilee program, Mr. President, because we see it as an example for the rest of the world, how we can engage our youth and give them a chance to prosper through a program like this. My ministry looks forward to building on more stronger partnerships with the UNDP and all other UN agencies in alleviating poverty as we work towards achieving Mr. President's vision of uplifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the year 2030.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the federal government will continue doing its best to rehabilitate IDPs and return them to their ancestral homes, saying, however, that with meager resources, assistance from bodies like the UNDP comes handy.
And I assure you that we appreciate your contribution in so many ways, and we are doing our best to stabilize the situation in North West and North Central, and we have to make sure that we keep on reminding our people to continue to build the country.
He said as a developing nation, Nigeria can't hop, step and jump, but must pass through the process of development. President Buhari noted that Eziokonwa, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala of the World Trade Organization, and Amina Mohammed of the United Nations are some of the women doing Nigeria proud internationally. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In other news, the federal government is urging insurance companies in Nigeria to improve its efficiency and honor claims and good time to policyholders. President Muhammadu Buhari made the plea while granting audience to members of the Governing Council of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, who paid him a courtesy visit. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo completes the story.
The visit by the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria to the State House was to formally confer on President Muhammadu Buhari its highest award, the Grand Patron of the Institute, in appreciation of his sustained interest in the insurance sector. President Buhari commended the leadership of the Institute for bringing some sanity into the Nigerian insurance industry, as well as giving more visibility to the importance of the industry in national development.
As you continue in your work of contributing to national development, I want to urge you to further increase the number of Nigerians and businesses that would benefit from and be benefited by the insurance industry. As you are well aware, you need to dispel misconceptions about the insurance industry presently held by a good number of Nigerians, especially as it relates to claims and need for insurance.
While appreciating the $500 million support by the insurance industry in the fight against COVID-19, the President promised to sustain collaborative efforts at ensuring that the country maximizes its contribution to socio-economic growth.
It is my commitment to leave a sustainable growth and development legacy by the end of this administration. I therefore want to count on your continuous support to join our hands and hearts together to create the Nigeria we want.
The president of the Institute, Muftau Oyegunle, lauded the Buhari administration's sustained efforts at eliminating poverty in the country through laudable initiatives such as the National Social Investment Programs. The programs and many others, he said, have impacted Nigerians, assuring that the inclusion of insurance in the policy formulation of the great initiatives will guarantee sustainability.
We also want to assure you that the Institute and indeed the Nigerian insurance industry will continue to support your administration.
The Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria was led to the State House by the Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And on the appropriation bill, the Senate Committee on Appropriations says Senate's resolve to give accelerated consideration to the 2022 appropriation bill will not deter it from carrying due diligence in the scrutiny of the money bill. Chairman of the committee, Senator Barao Jibrin, stated this after a closed-door meeting with members of the committee. He concurred with the leadership of the National Assembly on the possible passage of the 2022 budget before the end of December this year, but says that the bill will receive adequate scrutiny.
If you expect that we will do better because we are getting more experience year in, year out, so probably we are going to improve on what we have done last in terms of diligence that has been applied to the processing of appropriation bills since the inception of democracy in 1999 to date. We are determined as ever to make sure that we get everything done before December, and hopefully the budget will be assented to, the bill will be assented to by Mr. President before the December, so that we can maintain the budget cycle that run from January to December, which started at the inception of the second term of this administration.
Budget defense by ministries, departments and agencies of government before the various standing committees of the Senate will start on Monday next week. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading the 2022 appropriation bill. This has paved the way for the commencement of intense engagements between standing committees and ministries, departments and agencies of government for budget defense. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali reports.
Before the second reading of the bill, House members during debate on the proposed spending for 2022 said MDAs must be taxed to use release funds for the purpose meant, as that is the only way to ensure that government policies make desired impact.
If they do not do that, we are going to consider adjustment to the budget in such a way that our resolution will be considered before passing to Mr.
Corruption is one of the areas that we have been talking about. And again, when we look at the budget, we have not given the anti-corruption agencies an adequate budget.
Some lawmakers pointed to areas of concern that should be attended to.
This particular budget should incorporate the impact of climate change, on our environment, the environmental degradation that is happening, the desertification that is happening in the north, the erosions that is happening around the southeast.
We should scrutinize the deduction being made by NNPC.
We should jack up the benchmark to 65 and reduce the borrowing.
I also see that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is underfunded. Allocation of 85 billion with today's exchange rate is only about $147 million.
All the various contributions that have come into strengthening the budget will be taken into consideration as we move into the committee's system.
The Appropriations Committee immediately swung into action as it held its first meeting.
In our timetable, we are proposing to lay the budget by 14th of December.
Thursday's plenary featured the passing of amendment bills for the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, the Danfodio University, Sokoto, and the University of Maiduguri, while the bill to establish Federal University of Education, Pankshin Plateau State, sponsored by Yusuf Gagdi, was passed. The House also passed 4 bills seeking the establishment of development commissions for the Southeast, Southwest, Northwest, and North Central Nigeria. Meanwhile, the House has resolved to investigate the non-takeoff of the e-customs modernization project, of which the Central Bank of Nigeria is a major party, as moved by Leki Abejide. House members, in response to the prayers of Abubakar Maki, called for urgent response by authorities to arrest malaria infestation in parts of Jigawa State.
The Ministry of Health and other health-related agencies take immediate steps in order to protect the lives of the good people of Maramuduri Kaugama Federal Constituency in Jigawa State from further death as a result of the malaria infestation.
The House has adjourned plenary to 9th of November 2021 to carry out the budget defense exercise. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Elsewhere, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed is touting the President's commitment to what he describes as uncommon passion for inclusive social protection for all citizens in the country. The minister made his stance known at this year's Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria's annual lecture. Anthony Forson brings us details.
With the topic, Imperative of Disability Inclusion in National Transformation, the Information and Culture Minister pointed out that President Muhammadu Buhari, since assuming office, has exhibited passion for people with disabilities by putting in place lasting structures and institutions that will drive inclusive social protection beyond the tenure of his administration.
This explains why this administration has created a ministry to cater for, among others, the vulnerable in society. That is the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development.
The minister noted that it is instructive to point at all social protection programs of the federal government as special considerations have been given to the plight of people with disabilities.
Another significant step came in January 2019 with the ratification of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act of 2018, which has become a major plank towards ensuring inclusive social protection in the country.
Also on the list of achievements is the accommodation of 100,000 beneficiaries with disabilities in the Batch C Stream 1 of the NPower program. The ongoing development of National Assistive Technology Scale-Up Strategy Roadmap in collaboration with Clinton Health Access Initiative. To this end, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities has commenced the employment of people with disabilities in a special health insurance scheme specifically designed to commence with 800 pilot beneficiaries cutting across the Federation. There is also the National Accessible Housing Program for people with disabilities in the Federal Capital Territory and the 36 states of the Federation with a view to solving the housing needs of the disabled community. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Time for a quick break. Please stay with us.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Get getting set for another day, another chance to change my story. I believe in my hustle, I know be lazy person, but life is just a knock big basketballs. If it don't close, I go find another. If I fall down, I go try to recover. If it ever walk me, I know they bother. Cause I believe, say, I go surely prosper. They don't get that shit, won't be. No matter what they say, we move.
Whatever life brings, we move. Turn up your dreams. MTN, everywhere you go.
The federal government has commenced second phase of COVID-19 vaccination. If you are 18 years and above and unvaccinated, register at www.nphcda.vaccination.gov.ng. Visit the nearest vaccination site to receive AstraZeneca or Moderna COVID-19 vaccine as first dose. If you received your first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine before 8th July, get your second dose now. All COVID-19 vaccines are free and certified safe. At the vaccination site, you can check blood pressure and know your diabetes risk status. Children aged 0 to 23 months will receive childhood vaccines and screened for malnutrition. After vaccination, continue to adhere to COVID-19 prevention protocols. For more information, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
Whoa, how hot is she? Very hot. Pick me. Just pick me, baby. Come pick me, girl. Man, I'm all ready for you.
So tasty.
He's so lucky.
Mini-Me, taste the fun.
The Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, cordially invites state commissioners and permanent secretaries for lands, housing and urban development, and other stakeholders in the built industry to the 10th meeting of the National Council on Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Theme: Housing development as a catalyst for job creation, social inclusion, and economic development. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor, Lagos State. Date: Monday 18th to Friday 22nd October 2021. Time: 9 a.m. daily. Venue: Marriott Hotel, 122 Joel Ogunaike Street, Ikeja, Lagos State. Virtual registration link is as on the screen. Participants are enjoined to strictly adhere to all COVID-19 safety measures and protocols for the duration of the council meeting, please. Babangida Hussaini, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
With my pregnancy, I started looking for the best of everything for my baby. When I met Morphix Newborn, I said this is the diaper I'm looking for. The formula of happiness for me is Morphix Newborn. There are no harmful substances in Morphix. I feel very comfortable while my baby sleeps peacefully. With its special umbilical cord and soft upper surface. Come on, mothers, try Morphix Newborn and join our happiness movement.
Against all odds, the Fifth Senate, under Senator Kent Nnamani's leadership, preserved our sovereignty and stood by the Nigerian people.
Protecting legislative due process.
A book, Standing Strong, by Senator Kent Nnamani, chronicles an undiluted account of the botched third-term bid, the plots, the intrigues, the scheming, the debate, the vote, and the gavel.
Standing strong is very central to our requirement for institutional integrity and national consciousness.
The book, Standing Strong, Legislative Reforms, Third Term and Other Issues of the Fifth Senate, will be publicly presented on the 21st of October 2021 at the Africa Hall, International Conference Center, Abuja. Time, 11 a.m. prompt. Special guest of honor, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Chairman of the occasion, Retired General T.Y. Danjuma, GCON. Chief host, the Governor of Yobe State. Chairman, APC Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Committee, His Excellency Maimala Buni. Co-host, Governor of Imo State, His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodimma. Book unveiling, Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, CON. Book reviewer, Professor Adebayo Williams. Chief presenter, Sir Dr. Emeka Ofo. For reservations and inquiries, call 0803-933-2373 and 0813-936-9777. Right Honorable SMA Eibo, Chairman, Planning Committee, announcer.
Manchester City return from the international break with a tricky tie against Burnley at the Etihad Stadium. Will they get their desired victory? Find out this Saturday when Manchester City take on Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Thank you for staying. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has been speaking on investment climate in states, insisting that all states should endeavor to create the needed environment for local and foreign investors. He made a call at the Ekiti State Economic Development and Investment Summit, tagged Fountain Summit 2021. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
State Police. On stage are Governors Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, Godwin Obaseki of Edo, and Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna. These are some of the states which economic status is on the increase and with experiences arising from the decisions taken by their administrations. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says this must be the aspiration of all the states and considers the theme of the summit, investment attractiveness and economic development, lessons to subnationals, as important.
So the attractiveness of a state to commerce is a radical issue. The very lives and livelihoods of the people within the borders of the state, whether the people will live prosperous and happy lives, be educated, have access to affordable medical care, depends on it.
Vice President Osinbajo, who is guest speaker at the summit, says Ekiti State has to deepen its fountain of knowledge to transform the state to fountain of knowledge economy.
Is that there has to be a collective change of mind, a collective change of mindset, thinking differently. There is a need for a subnational to think like a sovereign state. You have a bigger GDP and even more revenues than many nations.
Our solution to reduce the dependence of Ekiti State on federally distributed revenues is to enable private enterprise by making the state an attractive destination for investors.
Well, the Vice President, before leaving Ekiti State, also inaugurated this Civic and Convention Center. It's a huge building, and so are the problems confronting the state? Well, they were coming together of people of like minds, while solutions may be on hand. In Ado-Ekiti, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Many thanks, Jide. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has reaffirmed her commitment towards improving the education of Nigerian women and youths, as well as children, particularly the girl child. The First Lady gave the assurance in a message during the closing ceremony of the second phase of the Future Assured Youth Educational Empowerment Program in Yola, Adamawa State Capital. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
The idea of the Future Assured Youth Educational Empowerment Program was conceived in 2017 with the aim to provide requisite training to Nigerian students from the less privileged backgrounds who did not make it in their first attempt of WAEC and NECO, as well as matriculation examinations, thereby losing hope in their academic pursuit. The program has scored over 40% success in the first attempt. In 2020, the second phase of the exercise was strengthened with the participation of over 700 students from across Adamawa State. This time, the program has recorded 95% success, with over 75% of the students gained admission into various universities and other tertiary institutions of learning across the country. With this huge success, the First Lady of Nigeria, in a message, maintained that more needs to be done with all hands on deck, cutting across all critical stakeholders from within and outside the country.
What we need is your support, the support of each and every well-spirited Nigerian to key in and support FAIP, to expand this project to cover all parts of northern Nigeria where the prevalence of school dropouts is high. This call is not merely necessary, but highly imperative on all of us. let me use this medium to appeal to both national and international donor agencies and individuals to support ABF-FIEP to strongly fight this war.
Participants and other stakeholders, including the best students of the program, who scored distinctions in all the 9 subjects, including mathematics and English, expressed delight with the gesture, describing it as unprecedented.
Congo's Silvertongue Institute is delighted to serve the ABF all through its youth education empowerment project in Adamawa State.
By this singular action of empowering the youth through education has liberated and engaged our youth in progressive activities that will enable them better their lives.
I have been at home for 1 year when I heard an advert that Her Excellency has opened a window to people like me. I rushed to pick the form.
Emphasis was given to e-learning for the students to compete favorably in line with the global best practices. In Yola, Adamawa State Capital, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Let's take a trip to Lagos, where Adeola will feed us with more news. Adeola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Iere. Nigeria is now more enabled with necessary frameworks and institutional capacity to better maintain the aging population and include challenges of older persons in the nation's development agenda. This is following the approval of 2.5 billion naira take-off grant for the project by President Muhammadu Buhari. Annie Daniels has details.
Available statistics by the National Senior Citizens Center reveals that senior citizens constitute 3.1% of Nigeria's population. Delegates and caregivers drawn from 17 states across the federation are present at this one-day Southern Zone Stakeholders Consultation Forum to deliberate on how to develop a National Senior Citizens Center 10-year strategic plan.
We have the national policy, the Nigerian Senior Citizens Center Act, the SDGs. With these 3 documents, and with us having a strategic plan, and then the other one is going to be implementation plan, breaking it down to programs, design programs, activities, targets, and indicators we can measure.
And the process of releasing the money is ongoing, and very soon we hope that all necessary arrangements will be concluded in line with the financial regulations of the federal government.
In a couple of months, we want to get Nigeria's global age index about the biggest and the highest in the world.
Informing stakeholders about the National Senior Citizens Center Act and mandate, engaging stakeholders on perception, context, evidences and myths about older persons, creating and fostering of collaboration and inclusiveness in key decision-making are among top issues on the agenda.
There is going to be a robust movement, I'll call it, to ensure that none of them is left out. Either you're on the street or you're off street.
The next stage we are going into is setting up a call center where, people can call in to talk about, ask for help.
Approval of the policy, acts and startup fund. Participants at this forum are optimistic would ensure the continuous contribution of Nigeria's senior citizens to the nation's growth. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
The hunt for the most bonded family with the perfect blend of being good chefs has commenced as PZ Wilma, maker of Devon King's brand of products, officially unveils the Season 2 edition of A King's Dome. 1 million naira is up for stake for the best family, with lots of prizes from the stable of Hair Temokul, another brand managed by PZ Wilma. Michael Olalaye has details.
King's Dorm is specially brought to you by Devon Kings.
The first edition of the King's Dorm was held during the COVID-19 lockdown to drive a stronger consumer affinity, using different recipes to vary the taste of consumers from the conventional.
Like to say that sit back, relax, and enjoy the soup. Thank you.
This time, Devon is celebrating family ties by giving families the opportunity to showcase their unique moments and exhibit differences.
A family, not more than 3 of them,
would come together, make a video of the uniqueness of their family, upload on their own social media platform. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, using the hashtag Devon King's Dome. So we would use this hashtag to trace these entries, put all of them together.
Only 12 families will make it to the show, slated for November, in which they will be divided into groups to compete against one another. To Devon, the contest transcends blood relations, but creating an atmosphere in which tasty meals connect more than divide.
This year's theme is really just bringing that together, inspiring people as families to come together, to share together, to generally celebrate together, make those moments more fun.
Nollywood sensation Tony Abraham is the host of the King's Dome Season 2, while top-rated chef Miyonsi Amosu will put his expertise on display to decide the fate of the families.
I know the importance of family, I know the meaning of being together, so I love it. So I want to preach about it, and I love it. I love the fact that, and I love food.
And we seek to see how the families will be incorporating Devon King's products in the show as well.
The show, slated for November, is one of the means Devon King's is establishing and sharing moments of bonds with its numerous consumers. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
We'll go on another break now with a little more reports. When we return, please stay on.
Everybody want love. Everybody wants to glow. Nobody wants party love. Everybody wants joy, yeah. Who don't like it better? And if you wanna talk to money, seven. If you wanna talk your credit, seven. If you wanna run on time, yo. Seven, seven, seven. If you want plenty data, seven. If you wanna go do seven. One more seven, he says seven, seven, seven. Let me hear you say this super number. Seven, seven, seven. Boy, is it like they no get you wahala? Seven, seven, seven. When you use the code, it be like you win the lotto. Seven, seven, seven. Let me hear you say this super number.
The whole sensational world of love, now accessible through one code, *777#.
When you wake up in the morning, before you start your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time. For work and for play, for a great start to your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
We always start our day with a nourishing Kellogg's breakfast, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals.
Is available in 90 naira only, with 10% extra inside.
Manchester City return from the international break with a tricky tie against Burnley at the Etihad Stadium. Will they get their desired victory? Find out this Saturday when Manchester City take on Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Welcome back. The Nigerian military has confirmed to have neutralized 250 bandits and captured over 600 of the criminal elements in the recent onslaught against crime and criminality in Zamfara and other parts of Nigeria's northwest and north-central states. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Laki Rabo, made this known at the resumed weekly ministerial briefing organized by the Presidential Communications Team. General Irabo, who described the shutdown of telecommunication services in the areas of military operations as a blessing of some sort, said thousands of kidnapped victims have also been rescued.
We will not be distracted. We will remain resolute and undaunted in engaging to see that we scale up the operational engagements in that regard, with the best approach to be able to get our nation back on course in terms of peace and security.
The Chief of Defense Staff, who attributed the mass surrender of Boko Haram terrorists to the military operations in the northeast, also confirmed the death of Abu Musab, leader of the Islamic States of West African province. He called on stakeholders and all citizens to cooperate with security agencies in order to win the fight against banditry, terrorism and insurgency, as well as kidnapping.
And I'd like to use the opportunity to thank Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, for the very focused direction and leadership he's given to us in the armed forces that has enabled us to do what you're doing currently to improve on a lot of defense and security in our country.
General Irabo also announced that the military have taken delivery of all the 12 Super Tucanos aircrafts from the United States. In continuation of his engagement with strategic police officers on security arrangements for the forthcoming Anambra governorship election, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has consulted with Assistant Inspector Generals of Police and Commissioners of Police to discuss the outcome of an election security threat analysis conducted by the Force Intelligence Bureau.
We have developed a strategic election security operation order, which will involve the mobilization and deployment of a total of 34,587 police personnel.
Security correspondent Francis Form reports that the IGP assured Nigerians and the international community of the readiness of the Nigeria Police to work with other security agencies in stabilizing the prevailing security situation in Anambra State, with a view to creating a conducive and enabling environment that will guarantee peaceful conduct of the election. A one-day summit organized by the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, has ended in Enugu with a call on the Nigerian media to remain professional in the midst of prevailing security challenges in the country, with national interest at heart. James Okpara-Kocha reports.
The paper presenters all agreed that fair and balanced reportage, devoid of sensationalism and hate speech, remain the only way to go.
Please let us remain in our senses as citizens of Nigeria, despite what is happening in our localities.
The emphasis now is how do you report this conflict? The other role of the media is as a non-partisan and independent institution that enables well-informed.
In his opening remarks, the Director General of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, said NBC has continued to hold these summits as a way to keep broadcasters on their toes in line with the broadcasting code, while having the national interest at heart.
Today, we are meeting within the context of the threatening security environment in our country. The situation is reflected in the content of programming and news reportage.
The paper discussants, made up of seasoned professionals, agreed with the paper presenters but gave kudos to the Nigerian media based on the circumstances within their environment. In Enugu, James Okpara-Kocha, NTA News.
In other news, the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, says it will continue to collaborate with the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria to promote capacity development in the country. Executive Director, Marketing, noted this when the new executives of the institute paid a courtesy visit to NTA's Marketing Directorate in Abuja. Musa Abubakar has the details.
Working with NTA. So, Mr. Idiom, sir.
A homecoming for the president of National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, Edorin Enang, whose friendship with NTA continues to blossom. This visit by the executive of the institute strengthens mutual cooperation between the two organizations with a focus on staff training for improved service delivery.
The institute is there to develop its members and also train its members so that they can better themselves. And by extension, when you develop and train members, of course, they will add value to wherever they find themselves. So at the end of the day, the individuals that are trained and also the organization they work for are all stand to benefit from it. And more or less for us to cement the evergreen relationship we've always had with the NTA. And this was meant to be a courtesy call to the marketing team and also to the entire body to look for ways in which we can consistently, oil the partnership.
The renewed partnership also targets marketing Nigeria with the objective of changing negative perceptions of the country. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board has continued to build capacity of players in the oil and gas sector, leading to the achievement of 36% local content participation. Executive Secretary, NCDMB, Simbi Wabote, disclosed this at a workshop on the agency's 10-year roadmap for the industrialization of Nigeria, organized by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. Benny Adams reports.
Not giving out jobs that can be executed by Nigerian companies to international operating companies is the interest of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. And to ensure this interest is protected and yields the desired results, which is economic empowerment and development of the country, NCDMB has been building capacity in this sector in the last 10 years.
It's all about value creation. It's all about retaining jobs here. It's all about saving capital flight and foreign exchange being utilized for activities that we can actually do in country. So I think the journey has not been easy, but it's been a one that we are excited to do it.
Wabote is quick to remind the assemblage that the petroleum sector is driven by technology and needs constant acquisition and updating of skill sets to meet global best practices. The board is yet again proud to announce that strategic partnerships and interventions have led to the establishment of a modular refinery now producing AGO, naphtha, and kerosene. There are those involved in manufacturing cylinders as well as blending plants, ethanol and base oil plants across the country, in addition to creating millions of jobs. For the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, understanding the context of one's work environment is key to effective service delivery.
Almost 80% of our 9 agenda points disaggregated performance indicators of the oil and gas sector were in green.
Nigeria aspires to attain 70% local content participation in the oil and gas sector by the year 2027. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
We head to Katsina, where the state government has taken a bold step towards the actualization of the Agro-Politan Clean Energy Cluster under the Nigeria Great Green Wall Africa project. Correspondent Awal Halaru reports that an agreement has been signed for the takeoff of the Pioneer project in 11 local government areas of the state, covering 200 hectares of virgin land.
The project, which will be implemented through partnership, will cost about $7 billion. It is a project to achieve sustainable development goals target on climate change by using jatropha as raw materials for the production of biodiesel, which is reducing carbon emission.
The nano and emulsion polarization technology is the only technology in the world today that you can mix water, 10% of jatropha oil, and 80% of petrol to have 100% clean biofuel.
Katsina State Governor described the project as a welcome development for its potentials in providing sustainable green economy that will sustain the environment.
This is a project that will be more appreciated by those who have knowledge and the benefiting communities because it's going to be areas, like you said, within the Great Green Wall.
The governor assured continued support for the project to be on ground before the year 2023. The chief executive of the Malaysia-based partnering company, Sefi Mohammed Jeffrey, who joined the agreement signing ceremony via Zoom, indicated commitment to the actualization of the project. In Katsina, Awal Haliru, NTA News.
And on health, medical experts say early detection of breast cancer through periodic clinical examination is recommended as an effective treatment for patients of breast cancer. This was the fallout of an annual free cervical and breast cancer screening in Ogun State as part of strategies to reduce mortality from breast cancer. Yemi Dalemo reports.
Medical experts say periodic breast examination for early detection of breast cancer is critical to ensuring effective treatment. To revert the trends of mortality rates from breast and cervical cancer, the need for women to go for periodic breast examination, avoid multiple sex partners, and early marriage is desirable.
What is the organism that causes cervical cancer? Human papillomavirus. And how does it do that? It invades the cells of the cervix and it turns those cells over into something else that is capable of invading other parts. They break away from the cervix and they go to the lungs, they can go to the brain, they can go to the bones, and that is when it becomes a cancer.
Wife of former Ogun State Governor and Senator representing Ogun Central Senatorial District, Dr. Olufunso Amosun, says the free annual breast and cervical screening is targeted at increasing awareness about the need for early detection and also to assist in footing the bill for patients undergoing lumpectomy surgery.
The point of our exercise is to catch it in its early stage. In the case of breast cancer, if they find a lump, then we extract it for them, and we hope that that curbs it from spreading further.
Some of the beneficiaries commended the initiative, which they described as supportive.
Don't die in silence.
The theme for this year's Cervical Awareness Week is Early Detection is the Only Prevention. Check yourself today. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalimo, NTA News.
Another break is due. Please stay.
This na the story of Pekin, wey rise to the max. Rain or shine, it not settle for less. Na the story of small boy wey get big talent. Wait o, e be like say na the story of one man wey fall, but wey bounce back in style.
Osime, wetin dey motivate you? I want day big, special and great.
Watching us live from Big Brother House Studio.
Joy for Osime and his teammates at Chuck as well.
Make we enjoy Max Entertainment together.
Sports or movies, telenovela or cartoon, music or reality TV. With just 6,900 naira, you fit get your Go TV decoder plus 1 month Max subscription. Make you enjoy over 75 channels with for Go TV Max. Make you and your special ones enjoy better things on Max levels. Go TV, love it.
Manchester City return from the international break with a tricky tie against Burnley at the Etihad Stadium. Will they get their desired victory? Find out this Saturday when Manchester City take on Burnley on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Sports is next with Badi Adeleye.
Many thanks, Nyara. Ogun State has won the first gold medal of the 6th National Youth Games in Ilorin. Ogun achieved this feat through Usman Karim, who finished with 6.90 in the boys' artistic floor gymnastics event, ahead of Delta State, who won silver and bronze medals, respectively, in the same category. Meanwhile, more than 5,000 athletes from 36 states and the FCT were screened at the University of Ilorin ahead of the Games.
The screening exercise is a special one, and I want to believe a thorough job is being done in this place.
Presents their national identity number as well. I mean, this is one thing we are sure everybody have. You have it once, you can't change it.
Moving on, Team Ekiti defeated Team Anambra by a lone goal in the final of the football event to emerge champions of the 2021 NYC Sports Festival, which ended midweek at the training pitch of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Meanwhile, Marion Wona of Team FCT ran a time of 12.65 seconds to win the women's 100-meter race, while Abiodun Emmanuel emerged the fastest man at the festival after winning the men's 100-meter race in a time of 10.30 seconds.
This achievement will go a long way in my career as a footballer.
The fiesta is also aimed at strengthening national unity and integration through the interactions of the youth.
And finally, Nigerian Armed Forces football team will battle for a third-place finish in the Organization of Military Sports in Africa Maiden Chief of Defense Staff Sahel Games after playing 1-0 with their Chadian counterparts in their second match. Chad progressed to the final with 4 points, while Nigeria have 2 points from 2 matches.
Really so hard, difficult and tough, especially in front of Nigeria, one of the great nations of football in Africa.
The final match is billed for Friday at the Aguiyi-Ironsi Sports Stadium, Abuja. And our sports update is back to Nyere.
Many thanks, Buddy. Activities are currently underway for the final interment of former Commandant, Nigerian Army School of Artillery, Kachia, Major General Abraham Dusu. An announcement by the family of the deceased, signed by a relative, Sani Daria Mudakai, indicates there will be a funeral service on Friday, October 15, at All Saints Church, Mogadishu Cantonment, Abuja, by 10 a.m. The final interment will take place at the Guards Brigade Cemetery, Mambila Barracks, Abuja, by 12 noon. The deceased was aged 54. The Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Malam Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, has joined other well-meaning Nigerians to condole with the family of Seriki Abba, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Domestic, Household Matters and Social Events over the death of his mother, Malama Aishatu Abba, in Yola. Simon Asha reports.
On behalf of the Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, the Executive Director of Special Duties, NTA Headquarters, Lawal Umar Lalo, accompanied by the management staff of Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Yola, says the death of Malama Aishatu Abba is a great loss not only to the immediate family, but the whole society because of her positive contributions. He prayed Allah to grant her Jannatul Firdausi and the family the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss.
Death is inevitable. You won't know that you lost somebody unless when you lost your mother. You lost a friend, you lost an advisor, you lost everything.
Malama Aishatu Abba, who died recently, leaves behind 2 children, among whom is a senior special assistant to the president on domestic, household matters and social events. Malam Seriki Abba, in Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
A quick look at the weather prospects for Friday.
Hello, we expect the day to start up with slim chances of rains to parts of the southeastern coast and some parts of the southwestern coast. We also look towards the northeast, where we expect much cloudiness over Borno, Taraba and Adamawa with slim chances of rain. But the afternoon is where we expect better prospects, as we expect rains to affect much of the southern parts of the country. We also have prospects of isolated thunderstorms to the high ground areas of the central states, and we look to late evening thunderstorms to affect much of the northeast, which may linger into parts of Saturday morning.
And that concludes Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. Please remember that rape is a crime. Do the needful. I'm Yen Ray John. Good night.